Hello BookTube! In this video I will be talking about my September reading plans. My main plan for this reading month is to reread the first 19 volumes of Hanako-kun by AidaIro in anticipation of the forthcoming 20th volume of Hanako-kun. So Hanako-kun is a manga series set in contemporary Japan. It's set in a very haunted school in Japan. Nene is a first-year student in the what would be the equivalent of high school, who desperately wants a boyfriend. She's been told that if she goes to a specific restroom and does a set ritual in a specific stall, she can summon the spirit known as the Hanako-san and be granted a wish. Nene goes to the restroom, to the stall, performs the ritual, and she summons Hanako-san. However, this particular Hanako-san is not the usual ghost of a young woman. It is rather the ghost of a young man, who I am blanking on his name right now. And he tries to grant Nene her wish, and it goes horribly. And in exchange for getting her out of her mess, Nene agrees to be Hanako-san's assistant, regulating the proper relationships between the living and the dead at this school. Joining them is a young man named Ko, who is a student exorcist, who initially seeks to exorcise Hanako-kun, but quickly befriends Nene and Hanako-san or Hanako-kun, and they go on a number of adventures trying to maintain the proper relationships between the the spirits at the school and the living students and faculty. There are 7 major hauntings at the school, of which Hanako-san, as the 7th, has a regulatory authority over the other 6. Unfortunately, not everyone wants to maintain the proper balance. The school's broadcasting club is under the control of an evil little ghost named blanking on the twin's name, and he's trying to make as much chaos as possible. It's been a long time since I've read Hanako-kun. The last volume, volume 19, came out in early December of last year, so I'm rusty, obviously, and I think reread is well in order, because I love this series. So my plan is, volume 20 of Hanako-kun and volume 7 of Choujin X are coming out September 17th. And I've got them pre-ordered from Book People. I'm expecting to get an email from Book People later in that week. So when I get the email, I will start on my reread. That following Sunday, I will read the first 6 volumes, and then over the course of the work week, read the following 14 up to including volume 20, as well as Choujin X volume 7 to make 15 volumes over the course of that work week. So that's my main plan. That's what basically all my other reading plans are going to have to accommodate, is Hanako-kun and Choujin X. Now, there are a number of booktube events taking place in September, and the big one that I'm going to be focusing on is Shorty September. Every year, the creators of Shorty September release the various prompts in a very interesting format. Last year, it was in the form of a zine. This year, it's in the form of tarot cards, which fortunately my computer decided, or my printer decided to actually print out several days after I told it to. Anyway, so I'm not going to follow all of the prompts, but I'm going to follow many of them. So I will talk about the ones that I'm going to follow while mentioning the ones that I'm not. So I will be following, or I will be doing the jorts, the jean shorts, which is read something from the 70s or 80s. I'm going to be doing two things, which, now that I think about it, I need to find the other thing I was going to do. And I don't think you are over here. No, you're not. Okay. So you would be down here then. Yes. There you are. Way at the bottom. Okay. So to recap, so jorts, read something from the 70s or 80s. So I have two things that I'm going to try to redeem for this prompt. They both were involved with a reading event I did 2 or 3 years ago, in which I bought several books that were published in the year of my birth and tried to read them. All of them were bails. One of which two of them were involved with the 1983 Booker Prize, and two were short story collections. I purged one of the Booker books from my library. I don't think it was this past purge. I think it was the purge before. And I'm going to purge one of the short story collections. But I'm going to give these two a bail of redemption and see what I make of them. And if I bail on them again, which is likely, then I'll just get rid of them and no problem. So first up is Life and Times of Michael K. by J.M. Coetzee. So this is a strange novel about a man named Michael K. who lives on the margins of South African society, who winds up getting into a lot of trouble as it looks like South African society reaches an apocalyptic point that's never quite explained. So I'm going to give it another go. I didn't really enjoy my attempt at it last time, so I'll give it one more go. I'm also going to be bail redeeming, or hopefully bail redeeming, Cathedral by Raymond Carver. This is the short story collection that didn't quite work for me the first time I had to go at it. Let's see if a second go will be any better. And again, if not, then I'll just bail on them. So I'm not going to be doing New Metal Bermuda Shorts, which is read a book that mixes genres, although maybe you can make the case that The Life and Times of Michael K. would fit that prompt as well. And I'm not going to be doing Rockstore Shorts, read a book and pair it with a song or album. So next up is Shorts with Pockets. Read a book with something on the cover that could fit in a pocket. So for this prompt, I'm going to go with A Telephone by Percival Everett, which has a compass on the cover, which can easily be in a pocket, as well as a hand. A hand can easily fit in a pocket as well. So this will be my third attempt at Percival Everett. I haven't gotten on with the previous two books of his that I've tried, so If this doesn't work out, then I'll just purge him from my collection, and it's okay. So I think this is about a geologist that gets into some trouble. So the next prompt is Micro Taylor Swift shorts. Read a poetry book or read a book with a breakup in it. So I'm going to go with the poetry because I do have quite a bit of poetry. In fact, I'm kind of thinking about breaking off my poetry collection from the rest of classics, canonical, modern, and contemporary fiction, poetry, and drama, and moving them to the other side of the library. And then just moving the classics and canonical, who are on this new bookcase, over here. That might work. Anyway, I'll think about it after I finish with this video. So the poetry collection I will be reading is Glitter Road by Genuine Gill O'Neill, which I picked up a few weeks ago from the University of Chicago Press, which I'm quite looking forward to. Next up is Summer Cookout Shorts. Read a book and eat or cook something to go with it. Now here I have two options. Option one is to read The Words That Remain by Stenio Gardel, translated from the Portuguese, the Brazilian Portuguese by Bruna, Dantas, Lobato. And so this is a story of two lovers separated over decades, one of whom wrote a letter to his lover who himself cannot read. So anyway, so I'm thinking I could give this a try and then maybe make a Brazilian dish for supper one day. I'm pretty sure I have a Brazilian cookbook, or not a Brazilian cookbook, a Brazilian recipe in one of the big cookbooks that I have. Or what's more tempting is I could actually read a cookbook or two. And in that case, I would be reading Little Big Recipes by Emma Laperruqe. So this is a cookbook that focuses on paring down recipes to as few ingredients as possible while still being really big on flavor. And also Barefoot Contessa Family Style by Ina Garten. So this is just a collection of Ina Garten's recipes. So my idea with both of these is to read them and also make 3 to 4 recipes from each book over the month of September. And my goal here would be to determine, do I actually want to keep either of these cookbooks in my cookbook collection? So, like I mentioned earlier this week, me and my mom switched bookcases. I got this bookcase here for a smaller bookcase, and that means that my cookbook collection is now on that smaller bookcase, and I have less space for cookbooks. I think I have maybe enough room for 3 or 4, maybe 5 if those cookbooks are not too big. But that means that I'm either going to have to just, at a certain point, stop collecting cookbooks, or actually be mindful of what cookbooks I actually use and what cookbooks I don't, and get rid of those cookbooks that I don't. And honestly, both of these cookbooks are on that bubble. I don't really cook much from either of them, and I want to try to see if either one of them should stay or perhaps get rid of. Okay, so moving on to the second half. Leopard print shorts. Read a book you've seen someone reading in the wild. I'm not going to do that one. Zip-off trousers, read a book with a title that could be shorter. For this, I'm going to go with What I'd Rather Not Think About by Jente Posthuma, translated from the Dutch by Sarah Timmer Harvey. So this is a novel about a twin coming to terms with the death of her twin brother, who got into a lot of stuff. And for ripped shorts, read a mystery or thriller or slasher, I'm going to be rereading Evil Under the Sun by Agatha Christie. This is yet another novel in which Hercule Poirot is trying to go on vacation and finds himself having to solve a murder. Again, the man can never get a vacation. This time, the murder victim is a retired actress named Arlene Marshall, who's rather an unpleasant woman. She's openly having an affair on her husband. She terrorizes her stepdaughter, and many people seem to want her dead. Now, the reason why I'm going to be rereading Evil Under the Sun is there's two reasons. One is I'm trying to reignite my enjoyment of Agatha Christie's work. Like I mentioned a few days ago with the D-Tag, I haven't really been getting on with her the last few years. So this is perhaps a last shot before I'm like, okay, a longer break is needed and just purge all of these Avenel or kind of omnibuses from my collection. And then if I want to come back to her, maybe pick up the trade paperbacks or mass markets or something. I'm also reading Evil Under the Sun because of the half and half shorts prompt, which is read a book, then watch the movie, or vice versa. I am planning on reading the film adaptation of Evil Under the Sun from the 70s or 80s. And also, obviously, I will be doing paperback shorts because I bought all of these books. And then I will ignore the supermarket 2-pack shorts bundle, which is read a nonfiction book that ties in with another of your shorties. So that takes care of Shorty September. Now, I also want to do some short fiction reading as well. Now, obviously, there is Cathedral that I'll be doing, but I also want to read at least some of the short stories in this collected stories collection by David Leavitt. I will be focusing on his first collection of short stories, Family Dancing, which came out in 1983, which was a temptation to do for the Jorts prompt for Shorty September, but since it's in this big old collection, I don't think it really would count. Even if when I log it into my reading kind of log, that it will be Family Dancing and not collected short stories of David Leavitt. And I'm also thinking of reading part of The Ascent of Wonder, The Evolution of Hard SF, edited by David G. Hartwell and Kathryn Cramer. This is an anthology of hard science fiction stories, which is science fiction stories that are more realistic in the sense that the scientific extrapolation is more of what is possible, rather than kind of the more fanciful ones with no faster than light, that sort of thing. This also would probably fit in with Sci-Fi September, because apparently there's a Sci-Fi September event going on as well that I just now heard about today. Now, there are two other booktube events that I'm going to be looking into participating in. One of them is Sumerian September, in which participants read Conan fiction over the month of September. Last year it was read the original Conan the Barbarian stories by Robert E. Howard. This year it is the pastiche fiction. So far of the known participants, they're going to be focusing on the Lynn Carter Elsbrog de Camp pastiches. I don't have any of those, so I will be looking at one of the pastiches by Robert Jordan, which is the only Conan the Barbarian pastiches that I have left. I used to have more when I was younger, but I got rid of all of them decades ago. And then I had a few, I picked up a few, but I got rid of them with my last book purge. So this is all I have. So I will be reading Conan the Invincible, which is the first in the first volume of the Conan Chronicles by Robert Jordan. And again, if I don't get on with it, like if I don't get on with any of these, I will bail and try to be okay with it. We shall see. And there's also Framed in September, in which participants read art books, or books about art, or books featuring art in the month of September. And for this prompt, or this event, I will be reading an art book, Painting Brilliant Skies and Water and Pastel by Liz Haywood-Sullivan. So it's been a while since I've read any of my art books. It's been a while since I've done art, period, largely for two reasons. One being space. In my old apartment, each bedroom had two bathrooms. The main bedroom had a full bathroom. The other one just had a bathtub. And I used that bathroom, the front part of it, since really all it was good for really was storage, as a little art studio. However, periodically the door to that bathroom would be blocked off because of boxes. We get a lot of packages in, and we end up accumulating boxes until I either recycle them or throw them out. And so I didn't really have as much opportunity to do art as I would like. And in this apartment, there's still that problem. I don't really have a space to do my art, to set up a little art space. The idea was maybe to do it in this room, but it's a little library and in my bedroom. Again, I could theoretically do it in my bedroom, but I don't really want to do pastels in my bedroom. I don't really want the particles to be overly prevalent because some of them can be rather toxic. So there's that. Also, there is picking up more materials. Now, while the individual pastels or paints will last a long time, they can last years. The medium that you're using, or the surface that you're using, you kind of have to buy them a bit more frequently. And every time I want to buy more art supplies, I end up buying more books. So I haven't really had an opportunity to focus on art over the last few years. I would kind of like to change that though. So maybe rereading this will give me that kick in the keister. Although I would also like to focus a bit more on drawing, because I'm for creative, for narrative reasons and stuff that I can go into in a separate video at some point in the future. But anyway, that's my September reading plan. Let's see if it works out. And if it does, yay. If not, oh well. I will try to readjust as needed. So until I see you later this afternoon for weekly reads, thank you, BookTube. Have a great afternoon and stay safe.